There was news this week. House Democrats counsel Doug Letter suggested President Trump could be impeached twice if witnesses such as former White House counsel Don McGahn are forced to testify. In a federal filing Monday, the House counsel wrote this, quote, "If McGahn's testimony produces new evidence supporting the conclusion that President Trump committed impeachable offenses that are not covered by the articles approved by the House, the committee will proceed accordingly, including, if necessary, by considering whether to recommend new articles of impeachment." What is the Speaker's ultimate goal in holding up these articles?
Well, I think she still realizes that she has power to wield. And as long as she has that, she is going to use it. We have seen it could be look, we're over break. Nothing was going to be happening anyway immediately. She saw that bit of time. She's buying it. And now it comes with a risk. If Democrats wait too long, it can look purely like political maneuvering. It can make the entire impeachment process look like political maneuvering, because one of the fundamental arguments, right, was that impeachment is necessary now instead of waiting for an election, because these actions are ongoing and they're urgent and it presents a threat to the Constitution. The longer you wait, the harder it is to make that argument. But one reason that it's so tight, it's so focused on Ukraine, has always left open that door that even if he is not convicted, if he does something else, even if he wins re-election, there can always be another impeachment. The Democrats still have that power in the House that they will try to wield if they think they have the ability to do so.
Amna, you just co-moderated the Democratic presidential debate. They have Iowa and New Hampshire just a few weeks away. Are they in lockstep with Speaker Pelosi in this delay?
Well, let's be clear. All of the 2020 Democratic primary candidates have said that they support the impeachment inquiry, right? Beyond that, some of the candidates who are currently in the Senate, who would be jurors in that trial, have been walking a very fine line, trying to maintain at least an air of impartiality, because they know what their constitutional duty would be. And they are saying, I'm going to reserve judgment. We're going to follow the process and allow it to unfold. That said, to Kimberly's point, the longer that this sort of plays out, the longer there is any kind of a gap, and there are diminishing returns if it goes too long. But a lot of those vulnerable GOP senators we mentioned already will continue to face questions about where they stand, whether they agree with Murkowski, whether they have their own hesitations. And we all remember back in October when Cory Gardner was pinned down in a hallway by a reporter and asked repeatedly, 3, 4, 5 times, is it okay for the president to invite foreign influence into domestic politics or look into a domestic political rival? And he didn't answer each time. It was incredibly damaging for him. More than half of his state supports the impeachment inquiry, at least right now. It's a tenuous position for a number of these senators to hold.
Bob, when you think about President Trump, there was a headline in Roll Call newspaper this week, Mar-a-Limbo. He's just waiting to see what happens with the Senate trial. But when you look at this process and compare it to Watergate, in terms of the evidence, Democrats keep looking for more documents, more witnesses. They're trying to perhaps bolster their case. Is there a real difference between what's happening now and what's happening then in terms of the evidence that's on hand?
Well, in the Nixon case, there were, before he resigned, dozens of hours of tapes and testimony and actual documents. People wrote things down. You know, let's put the fix in, let's do that. And so it's very different in terms of magnitude. What strikes me from looking at this from a distance and considering Nancy Pelosi, there were really extraordinary political muscle on her part to take the position, we're not doing impeachment, then they get the Ukraine information, we're doing impeachment. At the same time, incredible political muscle on the Republican side. 173 Republicans voting unanimously against impeachment. That is staggering. So we're in a situation where the people have staked out their sides, and you know how this, I think.
Does the White House buckle at all and yield in terms of witnesses or documents, or do you believe President Trump will hold the line?
Well, I think he's kind of committed, and it's in the courts, but the courts aren't going to decide this week or next month. It's going to the Supreme Court, and there is a classic, power context going on here that is it couldn't be larger, and the Supreme Court might want to really do something very serious if they get one of these cases. I think I've tried in my own mind to calculate the number of possible scenarios here in the next year, and I can list 14 for you. If you would
I think I could add a few myself. I mean, it just, Kim, you're the attorney here at the table.
Yeah.
You think about Chief Justice Roberts. Will he play by the rules, be low key based on your reporting, or not?
Yeah, I think so. I've seen from covering the Supreme Court and covering politics that Chief Justice John Roberts is not a guy who wants to take on take the political wand and run with it. He is very aware about his role as the Chief Justice of the United Supreme Court and the role of the court and the reputation of the court. He will be equally as concerned that this look like a fair process. This looks like he did his job, and I think there will be pressure by Donald Trump, maybe through his Twitter account, that Chief Justice John Roberts is one of the people who are there to protect him, and he doesn't see his role that way.